Hi, hello again. And today I've got with me Mo Teague, obviously a absolute living legend of the martial arts and somebody that just about everybody will know. So how are we doing today, Mo?
I'm very well, thank you. How's yourself?
Oh, I'm good, my friend. I'm good. Thank you for coming on, having a little chat today. I know we've spoken several times in the past in this medium, but it's always good to catch up. So,
Absolutely.
one of the first things I wanted to talk about was the fact that Kaizen is approaching, and you're coming along to Kaizen itself, but also the seminar on the Saturday, the professionals, where we're doing the bouncers and bodyguards. Now, I'd just like to sort of talk a little bit, if you wouldn't mind, about some of your history in regards that for those that may not know.
In regards bouncers and bodyguards, I like the old term bouncer because that's back in the old days. I'm sure you'll remember before the badge system and registration and the CCTV, I think, which was kind of a defining moment. It changed everything, didn't it? So back in the day before we had that, it was bouncing, I suppose. I used to bounce people out the clubs and venues and things, I suppose. Um, it's changed a lot, and probably for the better. But I worked the doors for over 10 years actually, um, and it was in those heady days of the Jeff Thompson, Peter Considine, where everything was people were testing the validity of their training in terms of traditional martial arts, and there was that big question over what worked and what didn't work, etc. So it was kind of a field test, really. It was a reality check, I guess, for a lot of people, and I really enjoyed it. It was good days. I wouldn't like to do it now, and I wouldn't like to go back and do it again. But it was really a valid way of determining what worked, like I say, and what didn't. And you learn a lot about yourself in circumstances and situations. But yeah, I did that for 10 years. I worked in different venues. I guess I worked in a biker bar, which was fun, and that was pretty rough, and it was really difficult to get anybody to work with me. It was a kind of, I don't want to say it was anything like the movies, the Jake Gyllenhaal and the movie that came out, Roadhouse. So I'm not saying it was anything like that, but it was pretty rough. I couldn't get anybody to work with me. People lasted maybe a couple of days or if that, and then it was too rough. But it was all bikers and local idiots. Uh, yeah, I did that for over 10 years. It was great. And then I went on a more formal Dicky Bow Tie venue, which was totally different. We had a team. So I went from working on my own to a team in a nice nightclub. So that was my kind of door bouncing experience, if you like.
Mm.
And the bodyguard bit, I had a training company in London actually for a couple of years, training close protection guys in combatives. And that, I kept that going for a couple of years. That was really great fun, but everything comes to an end at some point. I moved on, but that was good. So I did close protection, trained more in the training field than the actual operational side, but still did a bit of that. And so I guess everything I do now, a lot of it is based on those two worlds, if you like.
Yeah, and what I tend to find is that people that have worked in those kind of settings, they've modified the martial arts, not changed it, but modified it from the lessons that they learned while doing that. Did you find that you had to sort of change your approach or the platform that you work from in those times? Because from a personal experience, I found the arts that I was doing when I first started working security, working the doors and things, it wasn't that they didn't work, it was that I couldn't get them to work in that format. So I had to sort of modify what I did. Did you find that?
Um, yeah, I think from a tactical point of view, in terms of you're going from a sterile environment, if you like, in a gym, um, to a live environment where it's a 360-degree threat. And you're always expecting the unexpected. I mean, just crazy things to happen that you can't replicate in a gym.
Mm.
The techniques themselves were pretty standard. A punch is a punch or whatever. Whatever technique you're using. But I think it was the tactical applications and the sense of awareness that changed. That was yeah, and yeah. So you're going from like I say, a gym environment where you've got somebody facing you and they're feeding you techniques, to somebody coming and grabbing you from behind, which I know that's a lot of self-defense, if you like, curriculum, grabs and holds and things. But when there's raw aggression behind it, everything changes. When somebody actually really is determined to take you out, that's the game changer. So the techniques themselves, I don't think had to modify them too much. It was only the kind of, like I say, the tactical applications.
Yeah. So speaking of tactical applications, I believe you're doing weekends now that are very specific towards this sort of side of things.
Yeah. I run training camps I do about 4 or 5 a year. This is outside the other seminars that I do. So this is my own personal training group that I have called the Tactical Research and Development Group. And as part of that, like I say, as part of research and development, I actually go out, I think we met up on the IKF Krav Maga instructors, didn't we?
That's right. Yeah.
So we both did that. So I'm still involved myself in that part of that research and development. I'm still going out there. I did the I don't know if you know Paolo Rubio.
Yes.
He came over and did a knife seminar recently. I attended that on the instructor side of that as well. So I think everything things are evolving, and we have to evolve in relation to that. We have a lot of knife crime at the moment. And I just think it's to so my training group is to like it says to research and develop in terms of our information, how we apply it. We've got an instructor program running as part of that starts next year. We've had a good sign up for that, but it's questioning everything. I think it's like Jamie Clubb says, I'm sure you know Jamie, it's being a martial skeptic. I think it's questioning. I think people are too ready to accept the established way of thinking and doing without questioning. So I think if you start from a 0 point and just say, look, I'm not going to accept everything that's taught as it is, I'm going to find my own way. You might come to the same conclusion, but at least you found your own way. So that's what we're doing. We're gonna like things like the OODA loop, say for example, we're questioning that, or Hicks law, things that are kind of, if you open any self-defense book, you'll find OODA loop and not very well explained generally. And we're saying, and things like that we're saying, is it relevant? And we're kind of like, should you be doing gun disarms as part of your self-defense? Is it relevant? How do you structure your training? How should people structure? Different people have different demands. So there are certain truths in terms of principles and concepts in self-defense. So I think it's important to identify and establish what's true for an elite special forces soldier at a base level should be true for the average, if there's such a thing, civilian. But where does it then go off where the needs of the police officer, the elite soldier, where do they go off into their specialist areas? Do civilians need to do gun disarms? We have a kind of a fun aspect of training. We might just go, okay, let's just look at some gun disarms. I've never done it. I've done it when I've trained military personnel, but not for civilians, because I think if you can't punch properly, what's the point of doing gun disarms? So it's establishing priorities. I think it's, reading the room. I think it's like, who am I teaching? What are their needs? How much time have I got? What is their motivation to learn and train, etc. So this is the idea behind the training group, is to bring mostly instructor level people together to question everything, to do further research and develop our information, develop our skill set, and develop ourselves, not only as martial artists, but as people. Because I think one of my core philosophies is, if you don't have a life, and that's subjective, obviously, who can say, but if you don't have a life worth defending or fighting for, I think you need to go back and look at and go back to the old ways of traditional martial arts, of the philosophy about, what am I defending? What am I, and it becomes quite deep, I suppose, beyond the line them up and knock them out side of things, which is still valid, obviously.
Yeah, no, I agree.
When you look,
yeah. Sorry, I was going to
Do you
say, I
know what I
agree.
mean?
Yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying, because essentially, if all we ever do is the physical, then we're just thugs. That's
Absolutely. Yeah.
so is this something that anybody can be part of, or do you have a selection process, or how does it work to get involved?
Right. Okay. Anybody can join, but then you have to earn your place because I mean, seriously, people say it. I think we're limited at the moment to, I think, the venue that we use, which is Andy Gibney's venue in Kettering, and he kindly lets us use that. The reason for that is it's central. I used to bring everybody down to this part of the world, down on the south coast. People were traveling hours and hours from Manchester,
Yeah.
Liverpool, and I felt so guilty at the end of the day. I live 5 minutes away, and they got a 9 hour drive. So I thought, we'll go central. Andy offered this place kindly, so we're in Kettering. So anybody can join. We've only got, actually, at Andy's, we hold 44 places, which we normally fill.
Mhm.
We've got some good people, Lee Trunks and Simon, loads of good guys, mostly, but not exclusively to instructor level. But then again, you have to earn your place, so you might not get invited back.
Okay.
It's only happened a couple of times, but it's really about attitude more than ability.
Mm.
Because if you haven't got the right attitude, we can't train you in anything.
Yeah, of course, that makes
So
sense. Yeah.
you know what I mean. So it's all about attitude. Anybody can come along and join us if we've got space on that weekend. And but then it's a question of, like, we might not be right for you, and you might not be right for us. But if we can get those two things married up, then I suppose if we get oversubscribed, I hate to say it, but maybe we'll have to. Well, I don't see us moving location, but we'll just have to do more weekends. We'll just add to the program.
Yeah, well, it sounds like it's successful for you and working out, and it's creating a great bunch of people. So, that's really positive. And again, it ties into one of the things that's great about you is you're constantly learning, as you mentioned earlier. We see each other on these training courses where
That's
we're
right.
out learning from other people, which is fantastic. So that brings us back to the seminar that we're doing on the Saturday, the professionals, bouncers, and bodyguards one. So I presume that you'll be bringing some of that philosophy over into that particular day, and how you approach your portion of the seminar and the teaching.
Yeah. I guess it's difficult. I kind of respond, like I say, read the room. I guess it's responding in terms of the energy that's there on the day, who's there, what do they want to learn. I mean, I can turn up with, like, an idea of what I'm going to teach. Somebody asks a question, and I go off on a tangent and teach, like, what do people want to learn, that who's there. So I'll have an idea of what I want to teach, so I'll go there prepared for that, but I'm also prepared to go off and teach something else. Just go with the energy. So
Yeah.
we can do anything on the day, we can do hardcore stuff. I didn't really, I think, talking is valid, but on a seminar like this, I think people like to get active.
Yeah.
So, I'll try and keep the talking down to a minimum, I suppose, and then we'll get busy and get doing stuff.
Well, the beauty of this setup is that there are four instructors, each doing an hour physical session, and then there's an hour afterwards where everyone gets a free burger, and it's a question and answer. So there'll be lots of opportunity to talk and mull over
Yeah,
ideas, and discuss sort of approaches. So, overall, I think that's a great setup. And then obviously we've got Kaizen itself on the Sunday, which
yeah,
again you're part of, which is fabulous. Everybody loved you last year. Everybody thought you were fantastic. So
yeah.
it's great to have you back involved with that. So, just before we wrap up, then, is there anything else that you'd like to mention today? Anything else that you'd like to let people know about?
No, I think, I guess I've got back into the groove of teaching. I've always taught locally here in my class, but I'm really enjoying getting back on the circuit again and meeting people, either as a student or as an instructor. And I really enjoy both of those aspects. It's good being a student again and putting on a white belt.
Yeah.
I love that aspect of things. And but yeah, it's really, I've only, because I dropped out for a long time of doing seminars
Mm.
for a number of reasons. But no, I'm back in the game again, and you know, I'm semi-retired, if I can say that. So I'm enjoying life, and yeah, if anybody it'd be great to see people at Kaizen. I'm really looking forward to it. A great bunch of people. I love everybody. I had a great experience myself last year, and some wonderful people. And yeah, no, it's always good to see you, Matt.
Yeah.
And I look forward to catching up and having a burger with you.
Yeah, well, I'm sure I speak on behalf of everybody, which is we are very glad that you're back, and we're very glad that you're back out in the world, because there's an awful lot of knowledge there that that deserves to be shared. So yeah, appreciate that very much. And so looking forward to seeing you then. Thank you for chatting today, and we'll catch up soon.
Take care, Matt. All the best.